All right, so this is the third part of the test, the state test for Ohio. And this is about the regulations of Ohio brokerage activities. Um, so what they're going to be trying to do with this one now, there's some spillover from the national stuff that we talked about all the time. Some spillover in this because this has something to do with a little bit of principal practice. It has something to do with agency. It has something to do with relationships. So anytime you hear relationships, you need to think of agency. All right. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is your relationship with your broker as an agent. Typically, that's defined like a general agency relationship with your broker because you're going to be doing many things under that license. You're not only going to be listing properties, you're going to be buying and helping buyers find and buy houses. And so the biggest thing right here, what I would remember, Dariana, is that in this first bullet point, it says broker salespersons, foreign dealers, and foreign salespersons may either be employees or independent contractors. If they are employees, then their W that they get like tax forms at the end of the year from the how if you got a job they give you your W-2. All right. So these people, there's some that get W-2 and then there's some that get what are those are the it's like a W-2. I can't remember the specific name of the tax document, but at the end of the year you're going to get a tax document that shows
Is it
all.
a W-9?
It might be a W-9. It might be on schedule. Yeah, it might be a W-9. It might be that. I don't know. I will get the exact answer. But the thing that I want you to understand about the first bullet point is that you're an independent contractor as a realtor. Your broker may have employees that work that she or he or she pays, and they have a salary or they get an hourly rate. Well, you are not going to get an hourly rate. You're going to have an agreement with your broker and you'll have a relationship with your broker where you sign an agreement in terms of the commission that you're going to be getting, what the split is between you and your broker, the responsibilities of you as an agent, some of the things that you can expect from your broker. And that's what they call an independent contractor. You're not an employee of the broker. The most important thing that you can remember about that relationship is that you're an agent of the broker. So any work that you do, anything that you contract to, you're really contracting it in the broker's name and not your own personal name. So if you get a listing, that's really your broker's listing. You're just the agent on that listing. Or if you get a buyer and you sell a buyer a house, yeah, you get a commission for doing that on behalf of the broker. You're operating your license under that brokerage's name as an independent contractor. You don't get any medical benefits. It's like you have your own business. It's like your own little real estate business, however small or however big you want it to be, but you are an independent contractor. So that's the most important thing that you can remember out of here. So right now, or highlight or go back and watch this video and make sure you know that as a real estate agent, you have a relationship with your broker, which is probably going to be like a general relationship, general agency type of relationship where you're doing more than one thing or many things, and you're an independent contractor. All right. Now, the next thing under broker relationship with broker, this is also important. Written employment agreements are not required but recommended. Now, they're not required, but you want to get stuff in writing so there's no confusion. If you agree to something, you might agree to multiple things when you're gonna meet your broker. It'd be good just to have it in writing. And most brokers already have that stuff in writing anyway. All right. So just remember that the employment agreements, once you do become an independent contractor, the employment agreement doesn't have to be in writing. But it's recommended. Persons working as independent contractors for tax benefit purposes may not work independently and must work for and on behalf of the affiliated broker. I wouldn't pay too much attention to this one. I don't think this is going to be on the test. Um, I would definitely know the first two bullet points. I'm not going to go into this. I'm just trying to identify stuff that I would study, and then we'll go a little bit more in depth once we get those things pointed out. All right. Salespersons working as independent contractors have an agency relationship with your broker, typically as a general agency relationship. So you can write that down. There's probably not going to be a test, But as a salesperson, you have an agency relationship with them because you probably just signed this employment agreement up here outlining his or her responsibilities and your responsibilities as a broker. So just know that a salesperson working as an independent contractor has an agency relationship with their broker. All right. And that relationship is typically like a general type of relationship, agency relationship. And the next bullet point, and this, remember, this is all the relationship with the broker. So the next bullet point says whether an independent contractor or an employee, salespersons may not enter into an agency relationship, advertise, close a sale, receive a commission, etc., on their own. All must be approved and performed under the broker's name. So what that means is it's just simple. If you're doing real estate and you're using your license, it need to go through your broker. All right. And it needs to be any of that stuff. Enter into an agency relationship, make agreements, or advertise real estate, close a sale, receive a commission, etc., on your own. You're the only person that can. What that minute pretty much says is the only person that can pay you any type of commission is your broker. All right. And then you shouldn't. And if you do enter into any of these relationships, it has to be underneath your under your broker. So of these three things, I'm definitely knowing bullet point one. I'm definitely knowing bullet point two. And number three is easy to remember because of these two. So I'm going to say 1, 2, and 5. Make sure you know those and the important things that I just pointed out with those things right there when you go take the test. Um, let's go to the next little section, commissions. This is how you get paid. All right. So it says no commissions other than, it says no commissions, the first bullet point, and this is kind of what I was saying in that last question. No commission or other compensation is to be paid to an unlicensed person for providing services that require a license. That's kind of not what I was saying. That's much different than what I was saying. So they're talking about commissions. The question is the point that they're trying to make is that you can't pay commission or other compensation is to be paid to an unlicensed person for providing stuff that require a license. Like with some of the properties that I have, I might have somebody go over and clean them on behalf of the seller. Well, I'll have them send the seller an invoice, and the seller will pay them. But you can kind of quarterback that for the seller and put, some people in the place. But cleaning the house has nothing to do with you don't have to require a real estate license to clean a house. So, but if the thing that's you're asking someone to do or about to pay somebody to do has to be having a license and they don't have one, that's something that you don't want to be doing. So that's a good one. The next bullet point, licensed broker or foreign dealers may pay commissions to or receive commissions from licensed brokers or foreign dealers from another state or country in compliance with the Ohio Revised Code. You might get one question on foreign brokers. All that says is that licensed broker or foreign dealers may pay a commission to or receive commissions from other licensed broker or foreign dealers of another state or country. If they just have to be compliant with the Ohio Revised Code. I'm not. If it is me, I'm not paying a whole lot of attention to that bullet point. But if maybe you go back and you study that once. Once you get the other stuff that I'm gonna point out, like the stuff that I want you to get on today in today's meeting is going to be these things that I'm gonna really emphasize. Like number one, you definitely need to know that under commission, the bullet point, the first bullet point. All right, the next one, we're right here. All right, let me bring it in a little bit too. We're right here. It says licensed brokers may pay compensation to a business entity not licensed as a broker if the following conditions are met. The entity has a licensed broker who earned a commission. Both the entity and the broker are in compliance with the Ohio Revised Code. The broker keeps the required records of each transaction. Licensed broker may pay a commission to a business entity not licensed as a broker if the following conditions are met. The entity has a licensed broker who earned a compensation. That's kind of tricky. What does that mean? So say, for instance, you have an entity like an LLC. And the LLC can't be licensed. It's not a person. You can't go get a license or like the LLC is a realtor. But within that LLC, with the way I'm reading this, it should be someone that is a licensed broker that earned the compensation. Both the entity and the broker should be in compliance with the Ohio Revised Code, and that broker keeps the required records of the transaction. All right, so just that's another one that I'm gonna spend some time on it, but not a whole lot of time on it. I just don't think that they're gonna test you at that level for the test. Um, the next bullet point: compensation due to a licensee may not be paid to the licensee's third-party creditor. All that means is that your broker is responsible for paying you directly for the work that you do. They're not going to pay somebody. They're not. You can't tell them, oh hey, pay these people on behalf of me. They're going to set up the commission for you. They're going to set up your pay for you, and they're going to pay you as the realtor. Compensation due to a licensee may not be paid to the licensee's third-party creditor. That payments are going to go directly to you. All right, the broker's not going to pay um, anybody else other than you most of the time. All right. It says licensees may collect or accept compensation only from, in the name of, or with consent of their affiliated broker or foreign dealer. That's the only person that licensees may collect or accept compensation only from your broker. All right. In the name of or with the consent of their affiliated broker. Now, you may have to run it by your broker, but you could still, and you could maybe perhaps do it. So you got to get the consent of your broker to do something like that. That's an important one. That's probably one I would want to know. All right. The last bullet point here, right here, it says licensees may take legal action for compensation only against their affiliate broker or foreign dealer. Make sure you remember that. That's going to be one where they try to trip you up. And what they mean by that is that you cannot, you're an agent. You can't sue the seller. You can't sue a buyer, but your broker can. All right. Licensees may take legal action for compensation only against their affiliated broker. So if you don't get paid, you can't go sue the seller. You got to sue your broker, because remember, the relationship is between the broker and the seller and not you. All right, so you run that through the broker. You'd have a dispute with your broker, and if you needed to go to court, it would be filing against your broker, because they're the ones that owe you the money and compensate you for whatever you've done. That's one that I would definitely write down and definitely know a little bit more about. All right. So another one, the next section. So what did we cover so far? We've covered broker salesperson relationship. Number one, I said definitely no. Number two, definitely no. Number three, we need to be studying that. Here, number one, I would say no. Number, what is that? Number five and number six. Number five and these two down here definitely have a good working knowledge of those things there. Moving to the advertising regulations, what we need to do in this section is understand what the state of Ohio does in terms of telemarketing laws and restrictions. So in Ohio, state laws, the Ohio law is called the Telephone Solicitations Act and the Ohio Telemarketing Fraud Act. All right. I you might get a trick question on that, but you know, I don't I wouldn't, if I'm studying this, I'm gonna try to find the one or two things that stick out to me. Like, no, you shouldn't be calling anybody before 8 a.m. or after 9 p.m. That may be a question. Make sure you know that as a telemarketer, you cannot call somebody, because see, what you'll be doing is you'll be doing cold calls, perhaps when you're trying to build your business as a new realtor. Well, you can't be up at 7 o'clock in the morning calling people, because that's against the telemarketing laws. And you don't want to be calling anybody after 9 p.m. because that's just too late to be calling somebody. All right. So definitely know, I would definitely know that one. Okay. Um, Now, federal laws, FTC phone sales rule, and the FCC Telephone Customer Care Protection Act. Again, those are some acts that was legislated, and those are the name of the federal FTC Telephone Sales Rule and the FCC Telephone Consumer Protection Act. The reason why they're really going over telemarketing laws and restrictions is because in some instances you may be violating a person's right by even calling them. They might be on the do not call list. You might be calling before 8 o'clock and after 9 p.m. So you want to be assured of whatever you're doing in terms of trying to generate business is legal. All right. So um now these laws and acts, I'm not learning that. I'm not learning that right now. I'm learning this right here, bullet point number 4, and then probably this is one right here, this number 3. Telemark is required to be registered with some exemptions. Business to business, telephone surveyors, licensed real estate professionals, political and religious organizations. Most telemarketers are required to be registered, but you have an exemption as a real estate professional where you don't have to be registered as a telemarketer. Business to business. So if you call in another business to solicitate business, you don't have to be registered. If you're a telephone survey, when you're calling somebody for a survey or something like that, you don't have to be licensed. Registered. A licensed real estate professional. You don't have to be registered as a real estate professional. You can make the calls and do what you need to do, telemarketing that you can, unless they're on the do not call list. Political and religious organizations don't need to be registered. So there are some exceptions to the telemarketer required to the law for telemarketers. There are some exemptions. I would know these two. I would know bullet point of the telemarketing and restrictions, the telemarketing laws and restrictions. I would definitely know 3 and 4. All right. Now going down here, I probably would know number 5 too. Oh, Ohio applies federal rules to fines and does not and do not call list, with no state do not call list. So you might see a question on there. Does Ohio have a do not call list or something like that? The state of Ohio follows the federal rules when it comes to do not call list, and they have no state do not call list. So Ohio doesn't have a state do not call list, so you'd have to defer to the federal do not call list to get to, for Ohio, because they follow the federal rules, and that's not too unusual. A lot of times the feds will make up the laws, and they're just good laws, and there's no sense for the state to make up new ones when those are good laws, and they're really solid and overall just good laws for people to follow. All right. Now they might ask you something like this: state the telemarketer's real name, company name, and purpose of call in the first 60 seconds. I don't think that that's one of these up here, like these two, where you wouldn't remember it all. But yeah, I would definitely know that I got to state my name within the first 60 seconds of the call. Because a lot of times people get on the phone and they just start talking and haven't told them anybody who they are or why they're even calling. Um, let's see, what bullet point is that? Number 7 bullet point: must disclose all material information about goods being offered in the terms of sale. So when you call somebody and you're cold calling or doing something like that about real estate, you want to disclose all material information about the goods and stuff that's being sold, and what you're doing and what you're selling, and why you're calling them. All right. It says contracts made via telephone are not valid until written. Signed confirmation submitted. So you might get somebody to agree to something over the phone. It's not legitimate until they sign that contract. All right. Now I would remember this. I would remember, and so let me point out the ones I would be doing. I would be definitely on 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and let's read the last one. Violations penalties include judgments, injunctions, damages, attorney fees, and lawsuits. I don't. Well, penalties, you would need to know some of the penalties. Just remember that you could get a judgment, injunction, damages, attorney fees, and lawsuits. I probably wouldn't remember that, but I definitely, again, would know this one. And who enforces the telemarketing laws? These people do: the FTC and the FCC and the Ohio Attorney General. Contracts made via telephone are not valid until written. That's easy to remember. Must disclose all material information about goods being offered in terms of the sale. All right, that sounds good. So yeah, so like I would be looking at 2, 4, 6. I'm saying 2, I mean, this, what is this? 3. I'm not doing, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I know all the way down to 9 in this section because I don't know what they're going to test you for in telemarketing, but I would know from 3 to 9 in that section. All right, so here are requirements in advertising. You're definitely going to get tested on some of this. And one of the definite ones that you're going to get tested on is this one, the first one. Licensees and brokerage names are required and equal prominence in all real estate advertisement, including internet website owned and controlled by the licensee or broker. What that means is you can't have your name in 72 font and then your broker like in 24 font. Your broker, I just tell people the way you avoid this rule is always make your broker name bigger than yours. Again, the licensee and the broker's names are required to be in equal prominence in all real estate advertising on Instagram, on the wall, on the flyer, on a car magnet, or whatever. You better have your broker's name, and most of the time, the Equal Opportunity Act logo and the Fair Housing logo on the advertisement. But it should your name and the broker's name should either be the same size or it should be smaller than your broker's name. Never should your name be bigger than your broker. All right, that's an advertising rule. So definitely no number one. Licensee's name, ownership interest, and licensure disclosure are required in all advertising of licensee-owned real estate. Broker's name is also required if the property is listed through the broker. So what does that say? Licensee's name, this will be on the test, more than likely. Ownership interest and license disclosure in advertising a licensee-owned real estate. So if you own a property, you got to let them know your name, that you're the owner, and that you're a real estate agent. Okay? Your name, you own it, real estate agent. So I posted one today. I put my name, that it's agent owned, and that I'm an agent. All right. And that's definitely no number 2. So definitely no 1 and 2. Brokers operating under 1 or more up to 5 approved trade names must use at least one of the trade names in all advertising. So, like, I'll give you an example with Brick House. We're called Brick House Realty, but we're also called BHR and Associates. One of them is a trade name. All of them are trade names, and we have licenses for all of them. You know, or and approvals for all of them, I should say. We have approvals for all of those, or just those 2. But it says brokers operating under 1 or more up to 5 approved trade names must use at least one trade name in all advertising. That's easy, either BHR and Associates or Brick House Realty. All right. An approved trade name shown on the license, an approved trade name shown on the license must be used as an identifying name on advertisement. So if you have a license, the trade name on that license should be used in advertising, but that's not one of the ones I would be really hard on. I definitely would know number 1. I definitely would know number 2. Number 5, so. Number 4, I wouldn't worry about that one. Brokers are not required to use words or abbreviations from their licenses or advertising, but may use realty or real estate or franchise names. Brokers are not required to use words or abbreviations from their licenses or advertising. They're not required to. So that's going to be one I wouldn't really be worried a whole lot about. I wouldn't be worried a whole lot about that one. All right, the next one, licensees are guilty of violating advertising rules if they do not have control. Licensees are not guilty of violating advertising rules if they do not have control of the content of the internet website or advertising. So, say for instance, you pay somebody to do your website, and you had a webmaster, and everything that needed to be changed, you had to go through them to get it changed. But they never was responsive and not answering your calls. And there's some dated stuff about your a listing that you showed a month ago that you can't get it off of there unless your webmaster gets it off of there for you. So you're not guilty of violating any advertising rules if you don't have control over removing that stuff. All right. And then it says here, internet advertising. I would probably know that. That's not too hard to understand right there. Internet advertising must include the broker's name on every page or every web page of the site and must update expired information within 14 days to include the date of updates. Licensees are not liable for third-party failures to update if update notices were provided. So you email a guy and you say, hey, I need to get this stuff updated. It's old. I got to get it off. I might get in trouble with my license. You email them, no response. And so 14 days pass, um, and you haven't removed it. I would probably do is I would make record of it. I might even call down to the division of real estate and let them know that this is what's going on and what would be the best way for me to proceed. But internet advertising must the main thing about this one is too is that internet advertising must include the broker's name on every page, and they must be updated in the of the site and must update expired information within 14 days. Like say for instance, you sold a property and it's still being shown as active. Well, that's not updated. Or you got a property under contract, I should say, and it's no longer active, it's under contract. Well, you got 14 days to update that website. Okay. The next one. So I would definitely know that one. The next one, electronic messages and websites must include a direct link to display that complies with the advertising. Electronic messages and website must include a direct link to a display that complies with the advertising requirements. Now, I don't think I would be spending a whole lot of time on retaining that one. Advertising does not include private communication between the licensee and a client or customer, private email, voicemail, if initiated by the client or the customer. It says advertising does not include private communication. So they're trying to just kind of define what advertising is. And so I wouldn't really worry about that one. But going back up here, definitely no number one. Definitely no number two. All right. I would know that you're not, I would know that I'm not in violation if I can't control the content and I've let them know. And you might want to know that on every web page, the broker's license or name must be on that. Okay. Now we're moving into misrepresentation and advertising. All right. What is this? Property listed under an exclusive right to sell or lease must not be advertised for sale by owner and must disclose if a broker is representing the seller. Well, an exclusive right to sell listing is just that. The seller can't advertise for sale by owner. So if they got any literature or anything out there, they cannot do that. Property listed under an exclusive right to sell must not be advertised as a for sale by owner and must disclose if the broker represents the seller. Definitely know that one. Number two, licensee is not to advertise property not listed with licensee's brokerage without permission of the property owner or agent. So sometimes as new agents, you don't have any listings and you want to act like you're in the game. So you might see a house that's beautiful and you want to advertise it. Well, most of the time, as you call that a broker, they'll allow you to put it out there and advertise that listing because what they're looking for, they're looking for a buyer. So the more people that they got trying to sell a house, that's not necessarily bad. That's a good thing. So yeah, make sure that a licensee that you don't be advertising other people's listings without consent from them. All right. The next one says, so I would know that too. Failure to comply with advertising rules and laws result in ads being evidence of the violation. So they'll use the ad against you because they got the ad. Somebody probably copied the ad and seen it. And then that's how you get in trouble. Violations may result in disciplinary action or service of a citation with a fine. So if you do misrepresent the advertising, you'll get one of those violations will result in disciplinary actions or service of a citation with a fine. So you might have to take some more continuing education. You might get a fine that you might have to pay. You might get both, but there is repercussions if you do violate misrepresentation of advertising. And then the team advertising, we're gonna go over that and then we'll go over to the other side. Team advertising. So let me go back. So I'm gonna tell you what I would know about this. Definitely know number one. All right. Properly listed under exclusive right. You can't I have a for sale by owner because it's an exclusive right to sell. The licensee is not to advertise the property of another agent without permission of the owner or the agent. All right. And then you will get violate if you get a violation, you could be cited a fine. So I definitely would know number 1 and 2 on that one. Team advertising. So what is a team? Two or more licensed individuals. This is probably going to be on the test at the definition of a team. Two or more licensees and other non-licensee professionals affiliated with the same brokerage who advertises together with an unlicensed group name. All right. So that's what a team is. Kind of know what a team is. Definitely know number one. Ads must display the team name with the group or team included and one member licensee's name in equal prominence. So you would have a team name, and you would say the Smith team or whatever, and you would include, Hans Smith licensee and all, and with the brokerage and all equal prominence. That may not be on there, but I would know everything under team advertising, honestly. Ads must display the broker's name in equal or greater prominence. We know that from the last one. Ads must identify unlicensed members that are included. So, say for instance, you got a big group, we got a big team. Say for instance, you got 5 or 6 people on the team. On that team, you might have somebody that is doing non-realty functions, but you include them in all of the pictures and everything with the team because they really are part of the team. They just don't have their license, but they do a lot of stuff like helping and stuff like that. Well, if you do a picture or something like that and you advertise it, you must identify that person as not being licensed. All right. All right. And then so the next one, ads not included in realty. I said ads not to include realty or associates in the team name, but may include the member photos. You cannot have like because then it gives the perception like it's a brokerage. All right. So I wouldn't necessarily be all that geared on this one, but I think you can remember this as you're studying. Ads should not include the name realty or associates in there. And then lastly, failure to comply with advertising rules is a prima facie evidence of a violation. In other words, they're going to use the ad against you. And it's on its face. It's on the ad. Prima facie means on its face. Like you pick up a piece of paper and it's got a heading. That's prima facie evidence, or if you look at it or see it, you can see it right there. It's um it's um it's going to be used against you as evidence. All right, so that was we got a bunch of more stuff to cover here. Unlicensed personnel, we got a bunch of more stuff to cover in this section. But I'm pointing out the things that if I'm going to take the test, I'm definitely going to know these things. We got a bunch of more stuff under here, and we'll keep going over this, okay? And I'm going to turn over to the other class. So I recorded this. I will see you over in the other class, and if you said okay, you're muted, and I couldn't hear you
Yeah, I'm about to say, okay. So you about to move over there right now?
right now.
Okay, I'll be over there probably like around 7:30. I'll have to go make a run, but I'll be on
Oh,
class.
okay, I'm recording it.
Okay, cool.
Yep, you got it.
All right, thanks.